Hello, party people. Happy New Year and happy holidays too, and Merry Christmas to those who celebrate Christmas.
And happy Thanksgiving because we took a long break.
Yeah. So Merry Christmas as your Christmas slash Hanukkah slash Kwanzaa gift slash New Year's slash Thanksgiving gift to you guys. We decided to not make you guys watch our content by not recording. So you're welcome, but we're back now, and you're stuck with us. And
For the entire year of 2023.
yes, this might be the last in person for a while, but we'll just see what the future holds.
We're going to keep it up. We got some channel goals.
Well,
to discuss.
before we get into that, I just want to start off with prayers for DeMar Hamlin.
Yes.
Just terrible what happened in that game. Still in critical condition as of now, but apparently doing better, according to ESPN.
I think they said he's finally able to breathe on his own.
Yeah, so that's good. It's always terrible to have to watch something like that happen, but yeah.
I don't think we've ever witnessed somebody having cardiac arrest on an NFL field before.
Yeah.
Like that. I think I researched it, and I think it only happened one time before in 1971, and that's the last time anything like that has happened. So yeah, definitely scary situation. While watching the game, I mean, I kind of was like, what happened? And me and my dad were watching it. As soon as he fell, he's like, he's dead. I'm like, what? Like, I was kind of surprised about it. And then the more they talked about it, you see the people going on the field giving CPR. It's like, wow. It just reminds you, sports are dangerous.
And to have a pulse after almost 10 minutes of CPR is really something. So, thoughts and prayers are with him and his family, and just thankful that he's still with us and recovering in a hospital. But now that we got the serious stuff out of the way, we can be all jokey. So, new year, new setup, as you can see. We got kicked out of our previous studio. We didn't pay the tenant for a while, so
yeah,
we got evicted.
None of the money we made from none of the content got us enough money to pay for our studio time. So.
Haven't quite hit monetization yet, so.
But hey, you guys can get us there.
You can. We're at 30 subscribers right now. I guess that brings us into channel goals for 2023.
Channel goals into 2023. All right, so I think a pretty good number here would be 100 subscribers. If we could hit that by the end of the year, I would be thrilled.
Century mark. Let's make it happen.
Let's make it happen. We gonna do anything for 100 subscribers? Any 100 subscriber special?
I mean, we can talk about that a little more when we get closer to it. Chess boxing flopped. You guys apparently didn't want to see us chess box.
Well, that's partially our fault for not doing any content. That's when we said that, and
I guess
afterwards. So.
And then our OnlyFans flopped. None of you guys wanted to see us naked. So
this is a long-term goal, though.
Yeah, we can always bring OnlyFans into the question as we get more popular. Tits at 2K. Hit 2K subscribers, and we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. We're gonna try to be more consistent this year.
Our goal is monthly uploads. 1 upload every month. 12 uploads this year.
Or more. Hopefully more.
Or more. If we hit 12, I'll be happy. If we don't hit 12, I really won't care. Because, you guys don't care about us, obviously, since we haven't had the chess box. So
we'll get there eventually. It's a long-term goal.
My goal for the year also is to keep being passive-aggressive and slightly funny, but mostly just aggressive toward all of our subscribers. I think it brings a nice dynamic into the podcast with you being, like, kind of a little sucking up to them, like, hey, we appreciate you guys, and me being like, I don't care about you guys at all. I almost said a bad word there. I had to alter course right there.
No, we can't do that. This is a family-friendly YouTube channel, Preston.
It is. I thought there was a person outside, but it was the shadow of your beanie there. Yeah. Let's see. Other goals for 2023. I want to lose 80 pounds. As you can see, I've gotten a little bigger. I'm currently sitting at 150, so we're going to try to get that down.
Back down to 70?
Yeah. If I can get it in the double digits, we'll be all right. But I'll keep you guys updated on my weight loss journey.
Any big things happen? Oh, we saw... Okay, jumping into a bit of the sports content now. We saw the largest comeback in NFL history.
We sure did. This is going to be quite the roller coaster of throwbacks over the past 2 months.
2 months. Quite the large comeback. We've had a couple of big things happen in the NFL.
Yeah. We've had my Dolphins not win a game since our last upload.
Yeah, we had a power rankings video that never got out because one, our picks kind of stunk. Well, after 1 week, our picks were stale and they weren't very good, and I didn't get it edited in time. Oops. But second of all, I mean, some of the teams that we had up high like fell off, and some of the teams that we had at the bottom have picked up a little bit.
This doofus had the Dolphins at 2, which I thought they were more around 5. This was the week before the Niners games. This was when they were like 8-3, I guess. I think that was their record.
Yeah, and I guess the Seahawks have kind of fallen off too. We've won one game out of our last like 4, I think. We got curb stomped by a couple teams. We lost to the Panthers. That was kind of sad.
Panthers are a good team.
If you take the
One of the
NFC,
worst in the league.
if you take the NFC South out of our record, we're like 7-3 or something, or I think maybe 7-4. But we lost all 4 games. Or I guess now it's 8-4, but still. We've lost every game to the NFC South, including the Falcons and the Saints, who are not very good.
And if you take the NFC South out of our rankings, we're 8-8. Otherwise, we'd be 8-8. So,
just thought it was something interesting. Let's see, any other big sports news? Oh, the entire World Cup.
oh yeah, that kind of happened.
Yeah, the entire World Cup kind of happened.
USA, we'll get them next time.
The hashtag gets called soccer campaign fell short yet again.
No, it's okay. We just had to, at least not lose to England.
Yeah,
So,
we didn't lose to England. Our guys looked all right, but I mean, the big storyline of that entire thing, I feel, was the Argentinian team and the lengths they were willing to go to get Messi his World Cup.
yeah.
And I wouldn't even say they got him his World Cup because Messi did quite a bit of the work himself. Scored quite a few goals.
Fair for his.
Played really well. I mean, the entire Argentinian team played pretty well, and I feel like they were definitely the big underdog going into the finals against France, who had won it in 2018.
Let's see. College basketball has started up. Not a whole lot to talk about there. I mean, it is just barely January.
Yeah,
we're just getting into conference play. I mean, Purdue just lost. Texas just lost.
Purdue lost?
Yeah, Purdue lost
To
the
who?
other night. I don't remember, but they definitely
They were the 1 seed last I saw.
they were the number 1 ranked team. Don't get
Yeah.
seedings until March.
Yeah.
Um,
Dang, we're not even that far off from March though. Holy cow!
yeah, UConn lost. I'm pretty sure.
Wow. Leaves the door open for teams like Virginia, I guess.
Yeah, or NC State.
That's funny. That's quite hilarious. We played Duke today. I'm sure this is one of the few games you'll actually root for NC State.
Yeah, and I'll be rooting for UNC tonight. I'm going to take on Wake Forest and try to get our season back on track for like the 3rd time this season.
Yeah, college basketball has been kind of weird because, I mean, as a state fan, we always win most of our out-of-conference games. We lose 1 or 2. Then we get to the ACC play and start to fall down the rankings a little bit. So this is normal for us, but it's kind of abnormal for Chapel Hill to be having to rebound from non-conference play.
Yeah.
Definitely an interesting dynamic. I mean, there's really I wouldn't say there's one super powerhouse team in college basketball right now that's kind of on top of everyone.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say so. I mean, everyone's losing to everyone. I'm pretty sure the only undefeated team left is New Mexico, which isn't really relevant. So, it's anybody's game right now. It'll be anybody's game in March. There's no undisputed team that's always going to win it all. Anything can happen. Any given day. So,
I wouldn't even say this is a hot take, but I think March Madness tournament is the best sports tournament.
it is. 100%. Best sports tournament ever conceived, ever made.
Other than maybe like the World Cup.
Well, I mean...
But that's a bit different, though. That's like such a grand stage that the entire world cares about.
I think if we're talking about the tournament itself, instead of like the stage that it's played on...
Yeah, that's true.
It's got to be March Madness.
Football. I was about to say we had the college football playoffs begin.
TCU, baby.
TCU, which I don't think either of us had in our Final Four.
No. We actually did do, in one of our lost recordings, we actually did make our predictions with like 2 weeks left. No, it was 3 weeks left. We made our predictions for...
That one made it in. I think that's a video.
No, that was after episode 12. I'm pretty sure. Because there was more than 3 weeks of college football left before Thanksgiving.
It might be out there.
It might be, it might not. But anyways, I think we both had Georgia and...
We both had Georgia, and I think we both had Michigan in there as well.
Yeah, and I think we both had Ohio State, too.
Yeah, that's right, because they were all
Ohio State was 2.
They were all
were
undefeated at the time. So
Yeah.
that would have been a while ago.
That was a while ago. Yeah.
So it might have been out there. I don't know. You guys can fact check it.
Neither of us had TCU. I think I had Oregon. Well, that aged poorly.
I think I had Tennessee.
Yeah.
That also didn't age well, but they got close.
Yeah.
Oregon
And
kind of
after looking at their performance, I mean, I wouldn't have minded seeing them.
No, I wouldn't
after the
either. I
Orange
mean,
Bowl.
they gave Clemson a pretty bad shellacking that Clemson's not used to taking. I think.
Although Alabama was the best, most impressive non-playoff team.
But at the same time, I feel like the 4 college football playoff teams that we did get are the ones that should have been in there. Like, I feel like the committee got it right this time. The only switch
Ohio State should not have been in there.
You don't think
in
so?
my opinion.
You think it should have been Bama?
I feel like it should have been Bama or Tennessee if Hendon Hooker was healthy. If Hooker was healthy,
I don't think they would have lost. They wouldn't have lost to South Carolina for sure.
Yeah.
And that would have. Let's see, who would their only loss would have been to Georgia.
Yeah, they would have been.
And I think that would have put them in over Ohio State since Ohio State lost so late. But I mean, you look at the game that we got. It was 42-41 between Ohio State and Georgia. Ohio State should have won that game. Like, they were in control of it for, I'd say, a good 50 minutes, probably.
Yep.
Georgia only led for about 2 minutes the entire game. But hey, I mean, if you're winning the last 50 seconds, then that's all that matters.
Yeah. And now we get the blessing as college football fans of knowing that Ohio State is the only team with a loss in 2023. Every other team is undefeated.
Every other team is undefeated in 2023. That's not true. We've had games happen since then.
Oh, I guess that's true.
But USC is another one of those teams.
There we go.
Tulane, the last 2 minutes of that Tulane game were so good.
And are we going to talk about the Peach Bowl girl and the Tulane girl? Mm-hmm. I mean, oh my gosh. Loss of words.
I watched a bit of the Rose Bowl. Kind of underwhelming.
I watched most of the Rose Bowl.
Penn State kind of whooped up on them.
Yeah, once the Utah quarterback left the game,
it was kind of over, yeah. Then we had the Michigan and TCU game, which might have been the most entertaining game I've watched in a long time. That
was a fun one.
I started watching it at halftime. Like, at halftime, I'm like, let me just watch this. I wasn't going to watch it at first because, honestly, I think most of America thought that TCU was just going to get curb stomped by Michigan. But when it was 21-3 or 21-6 at half, I'm like, I'm going to watch this. And boy, was that third quarter electric.
Yeah. When they lost to Kansas State in their conference championship, I really thought they were going to fall out of the top 4. And then USC just got absolutely
they got smashed.
So.
Well, and the surprising thing to me about that is TCU was still number 3 though. So even if USC won the conference championship, I think they would have replaced Ohio State.
Yeah. I would have liked to see that a lot more. I would have liked to see USC replace Ohio State.
After the gesture that Caleb Williams made with his fingernail painting, I was quite happy that they didn't make the college football playoffs, and I was also quite happy that they got their brains blown out by Tulane in the last 2 minutes.
You just get tired of seeing the same 4 teams every year,
Yeah.
This is the first college football playoff, ever, that hasn't had Alabama or Clemson.
Clemson's missed a couple times.
Yeah, but to have neither of them in there.
Yeah, to not have either of them in there. And I feel like part of it has to do with the transfer portal, but you also have different teams rising up. I think Georgia's probably the new Alabama at this point. But I don't think we're going to see as long of a duration of just extended dominance like we've seen with Bama all these years. I think there's definitely new blood coming into power.
I like that there's a lot more teams that are in the mix now. It's not
the same 4.
Even with Alabama and Clemson always being on top, you always knew those two would end up playing each other for the Natty. It was at least you always knew Ohio State would be somewhere in the playoff. You always knew that
Notre Dame would be somewhere in there.
Notre Dame would be close.
Oklahoma would be close. I mean, this year is the first year in a while that you've had some other teams in there. I mean, TCU. Nobody would have thought TCU. At one point, Kansas was in the top 20.
Yeah.
When was the last time Kansas was ranked?
2006. It's been a while.
It's been a long time. Another thing as an ACC person that really made me a little bit happy was that at the end of the season, Florida State's finally back. Yeah. I'd say, because Florida State used to be one of those teams that was always in the mix for a deep run in the playoffs, a national championship, and Jimbo Fisher kind of messed them up big time when he went to Texas A&M and left the program in shambles. So as an ACC fan, it's good to see them back on top.
Yeah.
I think next year they'll probably dethrone Clemson.
That'd be nice.
As the number one team in the ACC.
Well, they're doing the new pods this year. They're not doing Atlantic.
That's true. They're doing three. I think it's 3 conference opponents. So I think states are. Do we have y'all? I think we do. I think we have Chapel.
I think it's us with Duke, and then I think there's one more.
You guys have. I know we have.
I want to say it might be Clemson actually.
I know State has Clemson. State's got Clemson as one of theirs. State plays Clemson and we play Chapel Hill. I'm not sure if we have Duke or Wake Forest.
I think it's got to be Duke. I mean, you wouldn't split up Duke and UNC. I wouldn't think.
No, I'm talking about for State.
But yeah, if it's pods, if it's if there's 4-team pods, then
is it pods? Is that what it is?
I know they proposed that. I don't know if that's what.
I'm pretty sure the schedule is just they play the same 3 teams every year, but I'm not sure the same 3 teams like. I'm not sure if it's pods or if it's just a weird set schedule thing. You kind of like divisions.
Yeah. But anyways, I was really hoping it would be UNC, State, Duke, and Wake Forest. Just all the North Carolina schools all grouped in there. Mm-hmm. But,
it's kind of, it's probably better for, like, long-term success in playoff championships, though, that State and UNC both have Clemson. Because the one thing that the ACC is kind of held back from is having that top-end team to beat to boost your resume, not named Clemson. And that's another reason I like Florida State being back to, like, high relevancy. Like, you have another team to beat. The thing about the SEC and even the Big 12 is, the Big 12 is kind of more 2 teams that always dominate. Or is it the Big 12? No, it's the Big 10. But you always have 2 teams that are always top 5 powerhouse teams you can beat to really bolster your resume. SEC, half the SEC is in the top 25 at all times. So the problem with the ACC, and I'd link the Pac-12 and Big 12 into this, is you only have like 1 or 2 top-end teams, and if you can't beat them, it's a lost season. So having more consistent top 25 teams, like I know at one point the ACC had Clemson, Wake, State, Chapel Hill, and I think they had Pitt maybe, or they had somebody else in the top 25 this year.
Yeah. I'm definitely glad that we're getting an expansion of the playoffs.
That's going to be great.
I remember watching the year. There was one year where UNC was getting a little bit of preseason hype, but they weren't totally sure if they'd be like a contender. I think it was one of Sam Howell's last few years.
It was last year because y'all were preseason ranked number 9 last year.
Something like that, but I'm thinking a little further back.
Oh, you are.
But I remember watching our season opener. They scheduled us against Georgia for our season opener. They were like, "This is gonna be such a good game. This is gonna determine who's gonna be a playoff team and who's not." And I remember UNC lost. I don't remember exactly if it was a close game or not, but UNC lost. And I remember flipping off the TV and saying, "Oh, season's over. No point in watching UNC at all anymore." It's like in college football, if you have 1 loss, then you might be able to come back. But once you get 2 losses and they're not like good losses, you're done for. But with 12 teams now, it's like
you can have 2 losses and be all right. Yeah. But those have to be 2 quality losses. Like, but I'd still say for ACC teams, any ACC team to make the playoffs needs to have 1 loss in conference. You can't have 2 ACC losses and make the college playoffs, even at 12.
Yeah, but at least it makes it to where you have more to watch. Like, It's not like if you lose 1 game, you're like. Especially late in the year, if you lose 1 game in the last 3 weeks, there's almost no chance you're making the college football playoff.
Unless your name is Bama, Ohio State, Georgia, Oklahoma.
One thing I wish they'd do is I wish they would just have a selection committee that just blindly looked at the stats of every team, like an in-depth stat, like wins, losses, like points for, total yards of offense, like all kinds of stats. And just had to blindly make rankings. Like
that would be cool.
I think it'd make it a lot more fair. Like you wouldn't get a good ranking based on your name and your conference. I do see that being problematic with these small schools.
Yeah, at the same time you would
UCF
have
with their undefeated season a while back.
You would have to well, at that point you bring strength of schedule numbers in there.
Yeah.
Like if you bring strength of schedule numbers in there, if you look at all the advanced metrics and pick your teams based off of that, like Have they beat good teams like quad 1, 2, 3, and 4 wins? If you bring all that stuff into there, I think you can make a pretty good college football playoff based off that.
Yeah.
But I think the way they're doing it right now is there are 6 at-large bids and 6 conference champions. So you'll have the Power 5 and one other conference champion.
Yeah.
And after
Big
that,
South, baby. Clemson. Or not Clemson. Campbell. Whoa. Another orange C team.
Oof. And then you have the 6 at-large teams, which I have a problem with that sort of because I feel like the 6 at-large teams are still going to be like SEC, Big Ten, maybe one ACC team.
Well, I feel like it'll be more like records than just. I mean, I get what you're saying that it's going to be teams from there, but like when you're talking about the best teams, like they're most likely going to be coming from the Power 5 conferences, from those big names.
Yeah, your Power 5 or your at-large bids are probably going to be all Power 5s. With maybe an exception like Tulane could have gotten it this year.
Yeah, it would have been nice to see the 12 team this year because the Sun Belt had that amazing stretch of games where they were upsetting everyone and everyone was scared to play a Sun Belt team. That would have been nice to see someone from the Sun Belt make it. Or
who won the Sun Belt this year?
No clue.
Was it Troy?
No clue.
No. The only Sun Belt team I really pay attention to is App State.
But
looking at stuff like that, though, it's going to be very interesting in the coming years. Is it next year that it starts?
I think so.
Well, next year we get the 12-team playoff. That's going to be really entertaining. You know what we also get next year since it's 2023 now?
We get the new overtime rules in the NFL.
We get the new overtime rules, and we also get the new college football game.
Which new college? The
NCAA college football is coming back in 2024. I cannot wait.
I do want to pivot back to the overtime rules because I've been thinking, and I just want. I mean, I don't think it's really necessary to be like both teams get a chance. I kind of like part of it with the overtime rules. I get why they're changing it, but I feel like you could change the whole aspect of overtime by when you have the teams do the initial coin toss. That coin toss would also determine the overtime. So, like, if you win the coin toss and you choose to defer, you don't get the ball first to start the game, but you don't get the ball first in overtime. Ooh. I think it changes the entire aspect of the coin toss, which is just everyone wins and defers. I think it brings a little decision-making into it, and I think it'd be a lot more interesting to see more of a skew of more teams choosing to receive rather than to kick it away.
And back to that Bengals game, the Bengals and Bills game. The Bengals actually won the toss and chose to get the ball, which is the first time I've seen that in a long time. So I do think that's an interesting dynamic that would probably make more teams decide to receive, but I feel like that's a better regular season thing. I like the way they scheduled it for the playoffs because you don't want to see a team like...
You don't want to see another Bills-Chiefs.
You don't want to see another team lose because they didn't get a chance with the ball. I mean, I get the defense is part of the game in such an offensive-heavy like era of football, but I mean, freak accidents happen on defense. You blow one coverage and you lose the game in overtime. I mean,
you tell someone that you're gonna get the ball and you're gonna score, and then all of a sudden you lose the game.
Well, that's a bit different, but it's kind of sad the way it goes now with some of these overtime games in the playoffs because you don't want to see your favorite team lose in the playoffs because your defense gave up like one bad play. It feels like it's all for nothing at some point.
I've seen people like turn off TVs, walk out of stadiums when overtime starts because their team loses the coin toss. I've seen people be like, "Oh, we're not getting the ball first. It's over for us. Like, we have no shot of winning this game." I really wish they would do something like college overtime. I love college overtime.
Dude, college overtime is, or even if they played a 10-minute, or never mind, I was going to say even if they played a 10-minute period and did that, like kind of like hockey does with shootouts.
I feel like a team can hold the ball for enough of 10 minutes to severely hurt the other team. I feel like you could have a 6 to 8 minute drive where the other team's heavily pressed on time and all that, but I love the way college does it. 25-yard line. You know, you get a full drive, other team gets a full drive, and then after double overtime, the 2-point conversions. I mean, that just gets electric.
That's great.
It's the closest thing that they have to hockey overtime, where they have overtime and then shootouts. I just think it's amazing.
I think if they would implement that, that would be great. But I don't think we're gonna see that. I think for now, the overtime rules are gonna stick. And actually, do they do that in college football playoffs, or do they just keep playing? Like, are the college football playoffs any different?
I feel like they'd be the same.
Because I know in hockey hockey for playoffs, any Stanley Cup game just keeps going overtimes and keeps going, kind of like the NFL does.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember watching, I think it was a Stars and Lightning game in the Stanley Cup Finals a couple years ago where it went to like 5 overtimes or something. But, yeah, I think football needs to change the overtime rules a little bit. I like the way they did it for the playoffs this year. But I still feel, I mean, even with both teams getting a chance to get the ball now, with it being a 10-minute period, like now you're just going to have these long methodical drives, I feel like. And that's how the NFL's been going in the last couple of years. You've been running a lot of these shell cover 2 defenses that really take away the big plays. So you're kind of just passing short. And so I feel like by implementing this rule change, if you win the coin toss, you still definitely have pretty much like a very good shot to win the game, only because you can take up so much time and lead them with nothing.
Yeah.
But that's not gonna change. Us talking about it's not gonna do anything.
I do think we'll just see the same old defer tactic used now that now that both teams are gonna get a chance to possess. Like, I mean, there's just so many more advantages to deferring anyways. Like, you've pretty much taken away. That's what I kind of liked about the new overtime or the old overtime is that you saw teams that automatically wanted the ball because you have the chance for that knockout punch. But I mean, now it's just I feel like it's gonna get a little.
It's gonna be like the regular coin toss.
It's gonna get a little less entertaining. That's why I kind of like my coin toss idea, even though it'll never be used. I feel like that would be a cool idea to implement.
Never say never.
Yeah, I mean, I just need to find some of the NFL officials and rule makers and all that, and just get a rule change drafted up.
So looking at college one more time, we got TCU and Georgia in the championship. It's gonna be an amazing game. I feel like. I personally was at the Duke's Mayo Bowl. It's kind of sad. Hey, I left the game with some free mayonnaise though.
There you go. That's 2 years straight that we have gone to Duke's Mayo Bowls and our teams have lost. So
who'd y'all lose to last year? South
Carolina.
I thought so. Yeah.
That was a bad one.
Yeah.
UNC's bowl history right now is not looking good. We had 3 years ago we had the Orange Bowl where we lost to A&M. That was a great game. Shootout between Sam Howell without his best receivers and whoever A&M had without their best receivers. And then last year, Mayo Bowl. This year, Holiday Bowl to Oregon.
We should have, okay. And it's funny because we switched bowls because last year State was in the Holiday Bowl that never got played because UCLA couldn't not get COVID. That spawned a famous quote from Dave Dorn. You know what NCAA stands for in Dave Dorn's mind?
Not caring about athletes.
Nope, no clue at all.
Ah, that was close.
Yeah, we tried, and the whole thing, trying to schedule a bowl game with ECU happened and all that. All right, let's bounce to the NFL now.
All right.
We are in the midst of, I think, about 6 or 7 teams fighting for 7 seeds. Because I think 1 through 6 has already been decided on both sides.
I believe so.
I don't know if the AFC has all 6. I don't know if the
We
AFC
do.
has 6.
Ravens
and Chargers. So I know the NFC right now is Giants and Cowboys. 2 NFC East teams. The teams still left in contention for the NFC are the Seahawks, the Lions, and the Packers. Lions and Packers play on Sunday Night Football. As of right now, it's the last game of the season. I have a feeling that'll probably change.
I feel like the last game of the season is going to be a Super Bowl, but we'll see.
The regular season. I think the last game of the regular season for me at this point, to take a guess, would probably be the Bengals and Bills game. I think that'll probably be the last game of the season.
I think that Bengals and Bills is going to be played this week, and they're going to move their games to next week.
Okay.
I think that just with the way it's scheduled, just in terms of playoff implications and strategy,
I think what better way to end off a season with a game like that?
Well, yeah, but I feel like just with the whole strategy of you might want to rest your stars and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I feel like they kind of have to play this one before their next games.
Well, I don't think either of them. I mean, so the Bills game is important in the AFC. I don't think the Bengals game is really that important. Their last game.
Well,
who do they play?
It's going to be someone else in the AFC in their division.
Is it the Browns?
Let
me look it up.
Bengals.
This is the first.
No. Steelers are playing the Browns, so they're playing the Ravens.
Are they playing the Ravens?
Yeah. Because I remember Myles Garrett saying something about how they're rivals with Pittsburgh, and
Mm-hmm.
if they can't make the postseason, they're not going to let Pittsburgh make it either. So
So the Raven. Okay, so the Ravens.
the Bills' last game is very important to the
playoff
wild card.
implications. I don't
but,
think I don't think the Bengals game is that
I
important.
don't think it's going to matter after this week.
Mhm.
I don't think that.
So that playoff, but the Bills game against the Patriots. If the Patriots win that game, they're in. If they lose,
If they lose and the Dolphins win, it's the Dolphins. And if the Dolphins and the Patriots lose,
the Jets in.
The Jets would be in. But if no,
the
it
Jets
would be the
are out.
Steelers. It would be the Steelers.
Yeah, we knocked the Jets out.
Yeah.
Go Hawks. And then on the NFC side, the Packers and Lions play on Sunday Night Football. If the Packers win, they're in. If the Lions win and Seattle loses, the Lions are in.
Yeah.
And if the Packers lose and Seattle wins, we're in. So I guess it's kind of like a 1, 2, 3 order. Like Packers have it the easiest, then we have it the second easiest, and then the Lions are kind of that like. I hate it too. That they're the last kind of hope.
And back to the AFC picture. If the Patriots and the Dolphins lose, I think it would still be. I think the Steelers would still have to win because the Dolphins own the tiebreak with the Steelers because of Monday Night Football. We played them back in week 6 or 7.
Yeah, that was kind of a wacky game. It was low scoring.
Yeah, Tua's first game back. But I think the Patriots own the tiebreaker now, based on division record, since we split the series 1-1.
So they have to lose.
They have to lose
You
for
guys
the
have
Dolphins.
to. Do y'all have the same record?
Yeah, we're both 8-8.
So they're both 8-8. The Steelers are also 8-8. So whichever team makes it in is going to be 9-8.
Yeah, or if they all lose, then the Patriots
make it in
8-9.
8-9. In terms of conference champions, or not conference, division champions, we have actually, I can't say the NFC East is settled yet. That will be settled this week between the Eagles and Cowboys. I know the Vikings took the NFC North. They're currently the 2 seed. 49ers took the West. They're the 3 seed. Actually, that might have changed since I last looked. Tampa narrowly wins the South. They're at the 4 seed. The AFC, Bills currently are at 1, I think.
I think so.
Minus the 1 games that they haven't played. If they win, they're the 1. If they lose, they're the 2.
Well, Bills in the East. You got Bengals they're in the North. You got the
Chiefs in the West.
Chiefs in the West, and you got
it's the Titan. Right now, it's the Jaguars, but they're playing a game against the Titans.
I really hope it's the Jaguars. I don't want to see the Titans in. I'd love to see the Jaguars.
Some new blood, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think honestly, the Jaguars have got to be the favorites going into that game. The Titans are. They
no Tannehill, maybe no Henry. Like
they didn't even put in Malik Willis. Like they drafted him. It was all the hype. Why did Malik Willis slip so far? And he currently has about as good of a quarterback rating as Jamarcus Russell.
Well, I feel like every year in the draft you have that one player that everyone's super high up on, that the media super hypes up, that isn't really as good as the rest.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this year it's gonna be Bryce Young. That might be a little bit of a hot take, but I don't think that Bryce Young is on the same level as like C.J. Stroud and Caleb Williams and some of the other quarterbacks.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
What do you think of Stetson Bennett?
Stetson Bennett might be the overhyped guy. I forgot about him for a second, but
I don't think there's not much hype behind him though. Like,
well,
he's that sort of blue collar guy. That's not like, I mean, sure he was in the Heisman race, but I feel like that's only because he plays for Georgia.
Yeah.
Like he's good, but he's not. He's not going to be a first, second, or probably not even a third round pick.
I feel like the media might just hype him up because they have like a bit of a story they can use on him. You know, he fought his way up through the roster
from JUCO and stuff. So yeah,
and all that. But I mean, the kid is a 5th-year senior, throwing quick slants and vertical routes to 4- and 5-star receivers, and he's acting like he's the second coming of Jesus Christ. Like the kid is not that good. The kid has such a big ego for some reason. I guess just because his team's undefeated and in the Natty, and he's already won a Natty before. But I mean,
24-0 as a starter. I'm pretty sure. No, he didn't start all of last year.
I don't know, but I mean, the kid is just not that good, and I feel like that's gonna be the media hype, especially if Georgia wins the Natty.
If they win this year, that'll boost his draft stock.
It'll be like, oh, look at this guy. He fought his way up from JUCO to Georgia, and he fought his way up the depth chart. He became the QB1. He has back-to-back national championships. Like, oh, he's such a good. Look at his deep ball. Look at this. Look at that.
He's not gonna be projected as a first rounder though.
Yeah.
Georgia's best players on the defensive line. I'm hoping Denver sucks bad enough so we can get him. Yeah. And then, I mean, now that we're kind of at the end of the season, I guess we can talk a little bit about end of season stuff. But biggest disappointment of the year by far
is that we didn't do our pick 'em all the way through the season.
Yeah, that's a pretty big disappointment. The Denver Broncos traded for Russell Wilson. Everybody thought for sure would become a playoff contender. And the one person who looked like a genius out of all of this was Pete Carroll.
You know, I got to give props to Russ because, you know, everyone's counting him out now. You know, everyone's like making fun of him, all this. But Russ, I got to give it to you. You threw for more touchdowns than
bathrooms in your house.
I got to give it to you.
Good
Congratulations.
Job,
it took you 16 games to do
it.
But
granted, he was hurt like 2 of them. So he was out.
Okay, yeah. But you finally threw for more touchdowns than bathrooms in your house. 13-12. Good job, Russ. Super proud of you. Keep up the good work. Go into your office in the Broncos Stadium and just start working on those high knees in the office.
Get your parking pass situated, your parking space.
Start working on those high knees and you'll be good.
Broncos this year, dude. Like, who would have thought they would be a bottom 3 team?
I don't know. I didn't really live up to I didn't think they'd live up to all the hype that everyone was giving them and being a playoff team, but I did at least think they were gonna have at least around a mid record. Like,
I thought they were gonna be a winning team. I thought they were gonna be around like 10-7.
So you thought they'd be in the playoffs?
I thought they would be close. I thought they were gonna be like either 500 or slightly above.
I thought they'd be 500 or slightly below. I did not see them being this bad.
I only thought that because I've seen Russ carry some pretty bad, like objectively bad Seahawks teams to the playoffs. But the Broncos didn't utilize him like he needed to be. I mean, some of the plays they called were just terrible, and he looked like he had seen a ghost. So that happened this year. Other good stories. Brian Daboll took a team who ran quarterback draws with 4 running backs on 3rd and 9 and put them in the playoffs.
Who would have thought that Preston would have called it at the start of the season? Giants were going to be a good team. Look at that.
For a while there, it looked like that was going to fall off.
Well,
like
for the first 7 weeks,
the first 8 weeks, you looked like a genius. And you also said the Panthers would be one of the worst teams in the NFL.
I looked like a genius.
You looked like a double genius. Now, that one kind of backfired on you.
Yeah, that one kind of fell apart. But they do play the NFC South 6 weeks out of the year.
Yeah, they played the NFC South for quite a bit. They also beat some pretty good out of division competition.
Yeah, and they beat some really bad teams like the Seahawks.
Oh no. See, what were my predictions? My prediction for like a sleeper pick. Who did I have? I can't remember.
Well, also my Dolphins pick looked really good because I said the Dolphins. I didn't say the Dolphins would be good, but I said Tua was going to have a breakout season.
Yeah, and that was right for the most part.
He was an MVP candidate until his most recent debacle with another concussion and throwing 3 picks while being apparently concussed. So
he got the career resurgence of Geno Smith, which is kind of taking a backseat the last.
Geno didn't write back, baby.
Geno didn't write back. He still ain't right back yet. Let's see, other unexpected stories. I think I had the Saints being pretty good in my preseason rankings. That one kind of flopped a little bit. Let's see. We both had the Bills pretty high up on our lists.
Yeah.
That one, I mean...
One of mine that fell through was I had the Cardinals as a fringe playoff team.
Ooh, that one kind of backfired. And I think arguably the biggest disappointment, maybe probably second biggest, would be the Super Bowl champion Rams. That was the worst title defense statistically record-wise in NFL history.
Yeah.
And they play us this week. So now that I said that, we're about to get bounced out of the playoffs. But I'm still going to say it.
Yeah.
It's been a very interesting season. I mean, Mike Tomlin, we thought we were about to see the first losing season in his Steelers career, and it's still up in the air. It could still happen, but they look pretty good. I guess they're playing the Browns.
Yeah.
So they'll probably end with a winning record for the 16th, 17th straight season.
One thing I did also want to mention is that Tiger Woods is back, baby. Tiger Woods played in his, father-son tournament like he has in the past few years. But the fact that if you guys are golf fans, you know that he looked really good playing in that and playing in the match with JT, Spieth, and Rory. he was out driving Justin Thomas by a good, like, I think 20, 30 yards, which at his age, I mean, from a purely analytical standpoint, he looked very technically good. His stats were very impressive. His ball speed and smash factor were amazing. Clubhead speed looked right up there with his prime. The dude might be able to win another golf tournament. I wouldn't put it past him. I think he's gonna. I think he's gonna play until he dies. I really don't think that he's going to ever really hang it up and call it quits. I do think that he's going to play in the Masters for life because I'm pretty sure he has lifetime exemption from just how long he's won and everything. And then the other majors, I think from his last Masters win, he gets 10 years of eligibility in all of those. So I think he'll play for the last, like, I guess 4 or 5 years that he still has eligibility left in those. I think it was 2019 that he won it. So I guess he has about 5 years left of eligibility. It's weird because they did the one COVID year where they had 2 Masters in the same year. But yeah, and now you got live guys who are going to be playing in the Masters. So that'll be a topic more for April. But trust me, I have some comments and some hot takes for those guys.
I know nothing about golf.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of drama in the golf world right now, but now really isn't the time for that. Golf really is going to start coming together kind of February, March, and then crescendo right into Masters week, which I cannot wait for.
Season that's heating up right now, though, is the hockey season.
Hockey, yeah.
Getting close to the All-Star break.
They got to watch out because it's heating up too much. It might melt the ice.
Yeah, I know. It's getting pretty hot. Currently, the Bruins are on a record tear. If they keep up what they're doing now, I think they finish with the best record in NHL history.
Yeah.
Carolina, the Hurricanes, we were on an 11-game win streak until we ran into the Rangers last night. And we lost 3-5.
One thing I just want to circle back to football really quick.
Go ahead.
We also had another title defense. The Hawk Finns are now 4-0 in Turkey Bowls.
Yes,
so
the Hawk Finns.
We did not really cover that.
Or that was the Sea Finns, I thought.
Sea Finns, yeah, that makes more sense. Sea Finns are now either 4-0 or 5-0 in Turkey Bowls. It was a hard fought game. A lot of offense, not a lot of defense, but we did come up with a winner, and it was the Sea Finns. Don't remember the exact score. A lot of adrenaline was coursing through my body, but you know, made a few stops. I think I had 2 picks, and
I had a couple sacks.
Yeah.
The defensive line / linebacker
/ quarterback
/ punter /
a few
just about everything.
A few underthrown balls. You were doing your best Tua impression out there, but you know, me with my best Waddle impression had to come back and get a few.
Come back and get a few, and then I had some that were really good. I'd say for this year, this is my best quarterback play.
I'd say probably 2 or 3 years ago, one of our first Turkey Bowls.
But I feel like Cooper's also gotten better. That might be part of it.
Yeah.
Cooper 2 years ago wasn't able to cover half the field in half a second.
But I feel like our performance was most dominant in like either our first or our second.
I think our second Turkey Bowl was the most dominant. This was definitely the closest one.
Yeah, this was definitely the most entertaining Turkey Bowl.
Cooper had a breakout season.
Yeah, I mean you gotta really follow the guy. You gotta love the guy. He's one of those fan favorites. You know, Cooper Thomas, a great player to follow in future Turkey Bowls.
Oh yes.
Definitely nearing the end of his contract. So I mean, it'd be nice to see what happens in the off season. Maybe a team makes a play for him, but time will tell. You know.
The old Turkey Bowl domination has kind of, I guess, been put to rest. It's definitely gotten a lot closer. It's become an actual game.
It becomes a shootout now.
No, it's always been a shootout, but it's just been one-way shootouts.
Well, yeah, but that's more of a shutout than a shootout. Now it's been.
Speaking of shutout, see what I did there?
No.
The Hurricanes currently have 5 shutouts this year in the NHL, which has tied a franchise record for through the month of December.
They're currently sitting 9th in the NHL.
We were actually sitting 2nd in the NHL behind only the Bruins, who have been having a really good season. We set our longest win streak, longest point streak. We've had 5 shutouts, I think. 3 by Pyotr Kochetkov and then 2 by Antti Ranta in back-to-back games. Some injuries kind of held the Canes back a little bit. I feel like Max Pacioretty comes back in or I shouldn't even say comes back. Max Pacioretty comes in 2 weeks. He will finally be in the starting lineup, which will hopefully bolster a power play that's been very underwhelming. And the Hurricanes have been rolling. I've enjoyed watching some Edmonton Oilers games with Connor McDavid, kind of just bullying teams. Boston, of course, has been doing really well. And this year, something interesting is the Carolina Hurricanes division. I have it pulled up on this computer screen that's over here.
They're in the Metropolitan Division.
Which right now, the Metropolitan Division has 6 or 7 teams that are in playoff contention. If the season were to end right now, it would have 5 playoff teams in the Metro Division, which is as good as you can get.
And then I could see some playoff hockey.
Playoff hockey is so much fun.
Yeah, because I'll be up there.
You'll be up in New York?
In the north. Although Hurricanes might be hosting a lot.
So
if they just keep winning, keep running through opponents, they'll be hosting the Stanley Cup.
Yeah. Right now, I think we have one of the best goals against per game in the entire NHL. Actually, it very well could be second, only to Boston.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'll be able to catch a Game 4 of a Hurricane sweep against the Rangers or the Islanders. We'll see.
Yeah, I guess for me, I might be in New Mexico, so I'd have to drive to Colorado, which they're not even in the playoffs right now.
Oh wow!
I'm pretty sure they're out.
NHL does 2-2-1-1-1, right? For their hosting,
It's
they go back and forth.
What do you mean 2-2-1-1? Oh yeah, they do 2-2-1-1-1 for playoffs. And then I know for the way they get in, is Colorado in? So you have three at-larges from each division, and then 2 wild cards from the conference. So let's see. The Avalanche are currently 4th in the division with 41 points. So 1, 2, 3, 43. Yeah, currently the Avalanche are out of the playoffs.
Wow, that'd be a shocker.
Cup champions out of the playoffs.
A welcome shock. Though.
Welcome shock, yeah, absolutely. Golden Knights are doing good again. Hurricanes, the New Jersey Devils, which nobody could have seen coming.
Yeah.
The Buffalo Sabres are finally actually playing good hockey. Hockey season's been pretty good this year. I've been to a couple Hurricanes games. I went to the one on the 27th of December where we shut out the Blackhawks. Then I think I went to the one against the Avalanche in October maybe, where we lost in overtime. So yeah, 2 pretty good games I've been to this year. One for one reason and one because it was close.
Oh, speaking of events we went to, MSG, CBS Sports Classic. Wow. Pete Nance is spelled H-I-M. All right, my UNC basketball, I've tried to keep it under wraps since, we haven't really been relevant. But, I mean, what a game. To get us back on track, we were on a 4-game skid. We go in there playing 25, 23 ranked Ohio State.
25 Ohio State.
And just to be down 10 minutes with 10 points with 4 minutes left, to come back, tie it up with a buzzer beater, send it to overtime in the Gardens, and to come out with a win in New York. What a game to go see. 10 out of 10 would see again. I would also see Kentucky lose again. That was also very fun. Sitting there, definitely a little intoxicated with a lot of intoxicated UNC fans saying, "Yeah, Kentucky's gonna lose, baby." Just sitting there, just praying for Kentucky's downfall, and we got to see it. So, love to see it. I think this is a good spot to end this off at. A little bit on the longer side.
Yeah, a little bit on the longer side. We've also had about 2 months worth of stuff to cover. Looking forward to the All-Star break for the NHL. Looking forward to the NFL playoffs. Looking forward to the national championship game for college football. We got a couple other things coming. If any of y'all are into esports, Preston and I have recently been running some Super Smash Bros. Duos. If you guys would like to watch us get whooped online.
We're not very good. You don't want to see it.
Well, maybe they do. Maybe remember how you said they just don't like us.
Maybe they want to prey on our downfall.
Yeah, so maybe if you guys want to see our downfall, go ahead and watch. We might post some Smash Bros. Videos where we do run some duos and get smoked by opponents. Let us know anything else you would like us to do. I'm going to try to get a little more consistent with the scheduling of these. Maybe run a couple other extra videos, maybe an IRL or 2.
Yeah. I have a few big things that I've been thinking about incorporating without Carter's knowledge or consent. So stay tuned for that. Catch him off guard a little bit.
Absolutely.
Throw a wrench in his plans. So, yeah.
Moving away and never doing this again.
Pretty much. I mean, that's one of them.
Well, let's hope that doesn't happen. You're a good co-host. I need you. You can't
Well,
leave.
school, and then I have maybe one day before I ship off to New York, and then I'll be back for Thanksgiving.
Well, as long we
So-
can run it back. We'll say 4. I think.
I think
5-0.
it's been 5. I think we've had 5. We had this year, so this was 2022.
We had 2021.
We started when we were in 8th grade with this whole.
No, it was 9th grade.
That's right, it was 9th grade. No.
It was.
Okay, I was trying to think of when. We can talk about it later. But 9th grade that would put us at 6. This was our 6th.
We didn't play football the first year. We didn't play a game the first year, and we had 1 year off because quarantining for COVID.
Okay, so 5.
So we've done it 5 times. We've played football games 4 times. We're 4-0.
Okay, I'll take it.
And then
We can discuss this and argue about it later. But
we'll go 5-0 next year. But yeah, thanks for rocking with us, guys. Sorry for the long break. We'll make
I'm
sure
not
to
sorry about it.
I'm sure you're not. We'll make sure to record some more episodes for you guys. Hopefully, not take 2 months in between. And yeah, thanks for rocking with us, guys. Until next time, peace.
See ya.